Okay, we are live. I was a little confused, but we are live now. What screen do I have up? Okay, as the title suggests, this will be a very haphazard, um, s- very haphazard preview. I don't have a lot of time nowadays. I'm in grad school, so I'm just kind of fit in what I can where. The schedule hasn't even been released yet for the playoffs because the season isn't even over. The season ends tomorrow. I think the playoffs start on Saturday, and that's a really quick turnaround. I don't know how they do that, but I don't think it used to be that way. It used to be like minimum 3 days off before the start of the playoffs, but I guess they're just trying to switch up the. No, I don't want to say they're switching up the script, but they got to make the script fit, and I guess they got to do what they got to do. Anyways, we are going to get into it. All right. Do I have the right? I have the right document up. All right, we'll just go series by series. Uh, and as I said, this is haphazard. I do have one potential pick for or I should say two potential picks for the finals, but one that I'll focus on a bit more just because I'm a little bit biased and I've done more research on that one. But we'll get to that when we get there. All right, starting off in the East, we got Washington and Montreal. Um, yeah, they've only met once in the playoffs. That was back in 2010. That was the Capitals for the longest time. They were kind of like that the Jesuit themed team that always choked. The Jesuits love to do that with their. It seems like with the teams that have the most Jesuit symbolism are the ones that choke or have disappointing finishes the most often. And the Capitals didn't win until their 43rd season. Society of Jesus 191, the 43rd prime, a lot more to it. But anyways, yeah, they've only met once in the playoffs. So you can say that Capitals are 3-4 against them. Montreal, Quebec equals 74. Washington Capitals equals 76. And to me, that makes me think that the Capitals either going to sweep or they'll 1-6. Um, I mean, I guess I don't really know. And that would make a lot of sense too, because Jesuit equals 42. Montreal is a very Jesuit city. They won the Stanley Cup last in 93. The sun is 93 million miles away. And Montreal's like the capital of I don't know if it's the capital, but it's like the most well-known city of French Canada, and obviously the Jesuits are from France, so that would make a lot of sense. If the Capitals win their last game and then they win this series, they're going to get to 56. So we'll see what happens there. Next one, Toronto and Ottawa. These teams met a bunch of times in the playoffs in the early 2000s, and they're actually all time tied at 84. Funny enough, but Toronto's won all four playoff series, 16-8 against them in the playoffs. But Ottawa's won all three games this season, and yeah, Maple Leafs equals 54. Does that mean I didn't do my math right? Oh wait, no, I did do my math right. Yeah, yeah, because if they went 2-4 against them, they'd be 5-4. That makes sense. Yeah, and Ottawa, Ontario equals 55. So if Toronto stays on 51 wins this year, and then they win the series, they'll have 55 wins on the season. Yeah, and then Toronto, Ontario 74. So if the Leafs are up 3-1 and they're trying to close it out at home, but Ottawa wins game five to keep the series alive and then goes back to Ottawa and they lose in six. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I'll go with Leafs in six for this one. Tampa Bay and Florida. Uh, yeah, I think these teams met in the playoffs like the last 2 or 3 years. It's been pretty often, or at least maybe like 3 out of the last 4 years, something like that. Um, wasn't really anything that stood out to me in my initial decode, but I'll talk about this later. I do think the winner of this series will win the Prince of Wales Trophy. and will make it to the finals, but I'll talk about that later on. Carolina and New Jersey, nothing, wasn't really much that stood out here. I guess the only reason why I felt the Hurricanes might win it is because Hurricanes and Carolina both equal 53, and they'll finish with 47 or 48 wins on the regular season, which means that if they win the series, they'll have 51 or 52, and then maybe they lose in the next round and finish the season with 53 wins. We'll see. Again, as I said, it's a very haphazard live stream. I haven't done a ton of research. Don't really have much of an opinion on this series. So that's it for the first round in the East. Now for the first round in the West, start off with Winnipeg and and one other thing, because a lot of these teams have moved around so much, like New Jersey's moved twice in their history. This is the Hurricanes' record against the Devils all time, and that includes the Hurricanes' time as the Hartford Whalers and includes the time that New Jersey was the Colorado Rockies. Okay, now they weren't when they were the Kansas City Scouts, they were not. The Hartford Whalers didn't exist yet, or at least they weren't in the NHL. So yeah, and then this is just when as the Hurricanes versus Devils. So since the Hurricanes moved to Carolina, I just wanted to clear that up because here in this situation, I have Winnipeg versus St. Louis all time, and then Winnipeg versus St. Louis since the Jets moved to Winnipeg from Atlanta. All right, so Winnipeg so I should say the Jets franchise has 35 all-time wins against them. Um, Now the thing that stood out to me the most was that they've played in the playoffs once. They're 2-4 against them. And St. Louis, Missouri equals 67. And again, St. Louis is one of the hockey equals 67 as well. I'll add that in there. Um, Hockey, not jockey. Hockey equals 67. And the Blues were one of those teams in the 1967 NHL expansion. So if the Jets won in 7, they'd be 6-7 against them all time in the playoffs. Although some things that do go in favor of the Blues. Against St. Louis, Missouri, or sorry, St. Louis MO equals 35. I don't think that means anything. That I don't think they're going to stay on. I don't think the Jets are going to get swept. I mean, it's possible. The Lightning did get swept as President's Trophy winners a few years back, but I don't think that's going to happen. Right, and yeah, since the Jets moved to Winnipeg, they're 30-23. Jets does equal 27. Yeah, but also another thing that signals this series could go 7 is that Winnipeg is 3-1 against them for the year, and St. Louis equals 74, which meant if the Jets won 4 games to 3, they would be 7-4 against them for the season. Although another thing that goes against the Jets here is the 35 playoff losses all time, and St. Louis Blues does equal 39. Again, we don't have the dates for these games yet because the series. Actually, I do just want to check something. I don't think anything has been announced, but yeah, let's just see if anything's here. They don't even have the no. It says schedule, and they don't even have the schedule. Okay. I mean, we'll see when they announce it. But I guess it's not going to be, won't be tomorrow. Well, maybe it'll be tomorrow. We'll see. I feel like it'll have to be tomorrow if they're starting on Saturday. All right. Okay, yeah, so as I said, leaning Jets in 7. All right, Dallas and Colorado. Again, this is a situation where we've had franchises that have moved. So I said the record all time, then record just as Stars versus Avs, so not including North Stars and not including Nordiques. Um, One thing that's interesting, I don't know if how much we've looked into this. The Stars are 4-2 against them all time in playoff series. And Colorado does equal 43. 43 is a big number there. The Avs won the Stanley Cup in their 43rd season a few years ago. Um, so that and the last time these two played each other in the playoffs, it went 7 games. Or no, actually that wasn't the last time. It was 2 times ago. My bad. I forgot about last year. Um, Yeah, I think these two teams faced off against each other in the 1999 and 2000 Western Conference Finals, and they both ended 4 games to 3. And with this here, yeah, Stars equals 77, and 77 is a very interesting number because let me just switch here. And so, something that I've talked about before. Talked about semi-primes, how they seem to have an interesting connection with things that are going on. 77 is the 26th semi-prime, and the last time the Stars won the Stanley Cup was 1999, which was 26 years ago. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in a bit. But anyways, yeah, Stars equals 77. Does that mean they'll lose 2 games in this series? And also, if they lose 2 games, they're 1-2 against the Avs right now. Winner most likely plays the Jets. Jets equals 54. But the big thing here, just make sure that is the Stars game over yet? Hold on. Can't. Where did I? Oh, maybe it's here. Okay, yeah, it is over. So yeah, it is confirmed that the Stars have won. Oh, you're just talking about. You're just talking about 77 to 26 semi-prime. There you go. Finish the season with 26 regulation losses. If the Stars do get 16, they will get that very popular 66 number that comes up a lot in Texas sports championships. Remember, I did a huge video on this last summer when the Stars won the Stanley Cup back in '99. That was a huge 66 ritual connecting with the Kennedy curse and Brett Hull, and connects with Robert Kennedy too. And remember, RFK's mother died on opening night. I'll talk a little bit more after I go through the other series. But yeah, they can get their 144th playoff win since moving to Dallas, if they do win it all this year. Yeah, and another thing that's leaning Dallas in 6, Dallas TX equals 51, as on 49 wins for the season. The Colorado Avalanche does equal 150. They have 149 playoff wins as the Avs. So does that mean they're only going to win 1 game? I feel like they'll have to win at least one. I don't think they're getting swept. Yeah, I'm thinking more so Stars in 6, but Stars in 5 is a possibility because Dallas loves 41. I think Stars in 6 is more likely. Knights and Wild. Yeah, I know they're called the Vegas Golden Knights, but I put Las Vegas. It's kind of an inside joke. Don't worry about it. Didn't really see much that stood out here. I mean, once we know the dates of these games, we might know a bit more. But I put 3 picks. I said Las Vegas sweeps, wins in 7, or Wild in 7. I could see the Knights sweeping because they're 4-3 against them in the playoffs, and Las Vegas, Nevada equals 83. But I could also see them. I don't know. That riddle doesn't work there. I don't know why I put that. Yeah, and Minnesota equals 38. They get to stay on 38 playoff losses throughout the whole series. But one thing that goes in the Wild favor is that they could get their 49th win of the season. Las Vegas does equal 49, and Minnesota does equal 38. They have 34 playoff wins as a franchise. Actually, I'm gonna take this one out. I don't know why I have that in there still. Yeah, so this one I think it's either gonna be Knights in 7 or sorry, Knights in a sweep or Wild in 7, but I don't really have much to go off of here. That's why it's a haphazard preview. Okay, final series, Kings and Oilers. They've played a bunch in the playoffs. I think the Kings have lost to the Oilers 3 straight years in the first round, if I'm not mistaken. This is the first time they've had home ice advantage against them. So maybe are the tides going to turn in their favor? We'll see. They have 112 playoff wins all time. Oh no, sorry. It's 112 head-to-head wins all time. My bad. Yeah, and Edmonton and LA Kings both equal 116. So that goes in the Kings' favor, but in the Oilers' favor, Edmonton has 36 playoff wins against them. Edmonton, AB, and Gretzky both equal 40. Of course, Gretzky played for both teams. If the Kings were to win, they're 3-1 against them this season. If they won in 7, they'd get 7-4 against them. Edmonton Oilers equals 74. 74 played huge last year for the Oilers in their playoff run, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it did, because I remember there was 3 straight games last year the Oilers played the Canucks. Let me pull this up here. Just search 2024 Stanley Cup playoffs. Because I remember following this last year. It's in the second round here. So the Canucks went, I won't say it here, but the Canucks went 4-0 against the Oilers in the regular season, which means that, and the Canucks went 4-2 in the first round. So in Game 5 last year, they were tied at 2 in the series. So the Canucks were 6-4 in the playoffs, but then the Canucks won Game 5, so they became 7-4 in the playoffs. The Oilers went 4-1. Wait, here it says, yeah, Vancouver won all 4 games that season in the regular season. The Oilers went 4-1 in the first round, which meant they were after Game 5 they were 6-4 in the playoffs. But then they won Game 5 to get to 7-4. And then because the Canucks were 4-0 against them, that means at this point the Canucks were 7-3 against the Oilers, and then they lost Game 7 to fall to 7-4 against the Oilers for the season. So 74 hit in those last 3 games of this series right there. So yeah, we know 74 is huge with the Oilers and the Canucks, I guess, but back to the sheet here. Where was it? Yeah, 74. Yeah, so 74 is big with the Oilers. We don't know yet. When's the Kings' last game? Is it today or tomorrow? The Kings' last game of the season is tomorrow. Okay. And I said, what? Okay, so yeah, they can get either 48 or 49 wins for the season. The Oilers' last game is starting right now. Okay. And I need to go up and edit something because the Devils lost. So Devils have 42 wins on the season. Is that right? Devils, yeah, Devils finished the season with 42 wins. Any other? Okay, nothing else. I updated these two before the stream started. Okay, we're good. Oh yeah, and also one other thing with that Canucks Oilers series last year, that was you had the TSN guy, Darren Detishin, I think is how his last name was pronounced. He died 7 months and 4 days before his birthday while that series was going on. between the Canucks and Oilers. Yeah, with this one, I mean, it's still, I'd say leaning Kings. Yeah, but another thing that, sorry, you had something in my teeth there. Another thing though that could go for Edmonton, they have 189 playoff wins all time, and if they win four, they'll get to 193, which is the 44th prime, and LA Kings equals 44. Okay, now that we've got the first round out of the way, I do want to focus on the Stanley Cup final and where I think it will go. If you've been watching my channel, you know I've been focusing on a certain team. And I probably am a little bit biased because I do live in the region. I'm not really, I wouldn't call myself a Stars fan because I'm not from here. But I have done a lot of research on them. So I know all the numbers that come into play with Texas sports championships. And given Dallas's connection to the Kennedy curse and the Kennedys being in the news, I think it's safe to assume that the Kennedy curse and the Stars are connected to each other. I mean, just think about it. JFK assassinated in Dallas, and then Brett Hull born exactly one day, or sorry, not exactly one day, exactly 1 year after JFK's infant son passed away, which is about 9 months after JFK passed away, and then Brett Hull scores the game-winning goal to give the Stars the Stanley Cup, and then less than a month after that, JFK's other son, JFK Jr., dies in a plane crash. Like, come on. I already made a video on that. Go and watch it. But I do want to look at what happened at the beginning of the season. Hang on a second. Okay. The heck are all these channels? I'm not even. Why is it suggesting beauty and fashion? I clearly don't watch any of that stuff. But I do. Whatever. Okay. Okay. Let's watch this video here. On October 10th, 2024, Ethel Kennedy, the widow of Robert F. Kennedy Sr., died at the age of 96. If you haven't already, I would encourage you to go watch my builds on that one. She died 26 weeks after her birthday, 26 days before the upcoming presidential election, and she was born 26 years before her son RFK Jr. That night, the Dallas Stars got their 26th all-time away win in Nashville, reminding us that they left Minnesota for Dallas after 26 seasons and won their only Stanley Cup 26 seasons ago. It was 19 weeks and 1 day after her brother-in-law JFK's birthday, who was assassinated in Dallas. Society of Jesus equals 191, the 43rd prime. The Stars won 4-3, 43 days before the anniversary of JFK's assassination. It was 41 days before current President Joe Biden's birthday, and the Stars stayed on 41 all-time losses versus Nashville, and Dallas equals 41. It was also 1 week and 3 days before Vice President Kamala Harris's birthday, and Dallas equals 13. 41 is the 13th prime. The Stars picked up their 62nd all-time win versus the Preds, and her birth name, Ethel Skakel, equals 62. It was 100. Okay, all right, we're going to pause it right there for a second because something that actually, let me look at the comments here. Because, yeah, with this guy here said, something here. Okay, let's read this comment that I made. Something that I didn't mention in the video is that Jake Ottinger just signed a $66 million contract. He's a 26th pick of the draft, and he's about to turn 26 years old. And yeah, we were just talking about 26. But here, let's pull up Jake Ottinger. Jake Ottinger. Wait, do I already have his tab up somewhere? Hold on. This is weird. Oh, yeah, okay, I know why I have this tab. Okay, never mind. Well, Whatever. Okay. Do I have it up? Yeah, okay, I got it up. Here we go. Jacob Ottinger. Let's just put it in here. It says Jacob Ottinger, 62, right? We're going to go down to when. Hold on. Let's go to Jake Ottinger contract. So when was this? Here it is. Okay. Yeah, so he signed a $66 million deal. This was on which day? On October 17th. So let's just pull this out here. So from October 17th until his birthday, and his birthday was December 18th. Whoops. December 18th. There you go, look at that. 62 days before his 26th birthday. And in this video here, I was just talking about 26 and 62. And it was probably what date did this video come out? October 19th? And he signed his, and I probably started making the video like a few days before that. What did I say here? Yeah, I said I had already done the recordings by the time the news broke. I didn't feel like adding more. Yeah, so that's, so like I'm talking about 62 and 26, and right on cue, Jake Ottinger Jake Ottinger, whose name equals 62, and he signed his big contract 62 days before his 26th birthday. Just to show you, born December 1998. And so 2024, that would have been his 26th birthday. Yep, 26 years old right now. And from Minnesota, that's where the Stars are originally from. They're the Minnesota North Stars. 26th overall draft pick. I'm telling you, man, we look at this. Yeah, $66 million contract. You got to go through this again. Texas, 66. Robert Kennedy, 66. Brett Andrew Hull. That's Brett Hull's full name, 66. Where did they win it? They won it in Buffalo, New York, when they won the Stanley Cup. And Brett Hull was born exactly 1 year after the death of Patrick Kennedy, another 66. 66, 66, 66, 66, 66. And then, of course, number of the beast, 66. All right, got it? And of course, Robert Kennedy Sr. dead on 6/6 in history. Oh, but yeah, also another thing. So look at his birthday, December 18th, 1998. Let's go from his birthday until the Stars won the Stanley Cup. Well, okay, so it depends on, we have to pull this up again, the 1999 Stanley Cup Finals. Game 6, it started on June 19th, but it went into 3 overtimes. So it finished on the morning of June 20th. So you could look at it either way, but the thing is, so if you say it ended on June 20th, which it did, then Jake Ottinger was born 6 months and 2 days before the Stars won the Stanley Cup. Yeah, so just to pull it up in here, Jacob Ottinger. I wish you just did Jake Ottinger. Yeah, this I will talk about this in a bit. So last year, the Stanley Cup Finals started on June 7th. No, sorry, June 8th. So last year, the Stanley Cup Finals started on, actually, hold on, I know what I should do here. So the 2024 playoffs, yeah, April 20th to June 24th. So the Stanley Cup Finals, Stanley Cup playoffs this year starting 1 day earlier. So that means if the Stanley Cup Finals, that's most likely to start 1 day earlier as well, which would be June 7th. Saturday, June 7th, we were just talking about. That's also the 7th of June. That's the same day in history the Capitals won the Stanley Cup not that long ago. They're saying Jake Ottinger, 67. You just did Ottinger. Yeah, Ottinger, 113, just like Dallas, and 49. Dallas 113.49. And yeah, Stars is 77, which is 7 times 7 is 49. And this is their 58th season as a franchise. It's their 32nd in Dallas. Um, every Texas sports championship comes back to 32. But anyways, there was something about his playoff record. What was it? Oh yeah, well I don't know. Hold on, we have to see. We have to check if that's updated or not. Hockey reference. So why was it telling me 113? Oh, you know what? That must have been 113 wins coming into this year. Let's check that out. Hold on. Oh no. Oh, that was last year. That didn't include this year. So he had 113 regular season wins coming into this year. Yep, that's not a surprise. So what is he on now? He's on 149. Big Skull and Bones number. He's on 23 playoff wins all time. But yeah, we're talking about all these things with Ottinger in 26 and 62. And I was just mentioning earlier that 77 is the 26th semi-prime. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. If we look at Dallas Stars is 27. So this is something I want to talk about here. The hold on, Dallas Stars record versus Florida Panthers. Actually, that's not really that good of showing it because it shows it in overtime, um, separate. Here, if we look at Dallas Stars against the Florida Panthers, they're 23 and 28 against them all time. So from the Panthers' perspective, they're 28 and 23 against them all time. If the Stars were to meet the Panthers in the Stanley Cup final, they would the Stars would get their 27th all-time win against the Panthers. And the last time the Stars were in the Cup Finals was back in 2020, and that was their 27th season in Dallas. And that was against the other Florida team. But something that's interesting about look at Panthers versus Stars. Right, so you had these two games. They were in, was it Finland? I can't remember where it was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Nokia Arena's in Finland. Yeah. So they had these two games between the Stars and the Panthers in Finland earlier this year. So the Panthers won 6-4 and 4-2. So that's a combined score of 10-6. And we were talking about semi-primes, right? Semi-primes are definitely important. 106 is the 35th semi-prime. 35 is that huge number connected to JFK because Catholic is 35. JFK dead at age 35, first Catholic president, just a couple blocks away from Interstate 35. When the Stars won the Stanley Cup their last time, they got their 35th playoff win since moving to Dallas. I've talked about that in the prior video. Yeah, so they got outscored by the Panthers 10-6. And I'm only going to speculate here, but I'm thinking that if the Stars do make it to the Stanley Cup final and win it, it would start on June 7th. So that would be game 1. But game 2 would be the 9th. Then they would take 2 days off as they travel. So game 3 would be on the 12th. Game 4 would be on the 14th. And they take 2 days off again. And game 5 would be on June 17th. June 17th is a very interesting date because that was the date last year that, hold on, let's go back to this video because I talked about it here. If I can find it. Yeah, 126 days after the death anniversary of RFK Sr., 99 days after RFK Jr., or before RFK Jr.'s birthday, Yeah, 171st day of the year. Let's see, where did I talk about it? No, I must have skipped it. Okay, we'll just. In her 24-day order, Kate died at 144 of June 20th. Hull died 100 equals 184th. Celtics anniversary died 3 of the city scored by Brett Hull, who was born exactly 1 year after Patrick Kennedy died. She died 113 days after the anniversary of the Stars winning the Stanley Cup, and Dallas equals 113. Yeah, so that's another thing where you can look at it. Was it June 19th or was it June 20th? The game started on June 19th and ended on June 20th. I think you can use either day. She died in Boston 115 days after her 74th wedding anniversary, which just so happened to be the same day that the Boston Celtics won the NBA Finals over the Dallas Mavericks. Masonic equals 115 and 74. Freemason Celtics won the NBA Finals and 74. Freemason equals 96, like her age of death. The Kennedys are of Irish descent. Masonry equals 150, like okay, but yeah, the NBA. That's the point I wanted to get across. It was June 17th. That was did I say that 617 was the 113th prime? Did I mention that? Okay, well, I said Dallas equals 113 there. Just to show you, just type in, crap. Just click on our random numbers. Just click on 144. And go down to, if I type in 617. Yeah, 617, the 113th prime. So how many days? Hold on. So let's just go from 617 2025 until 1218. Hold on. So that was 100. So that would be 40, 41, or that's a 42nd prime. But it's 184 days, but it's a span. Well, what's interesting is it's a span of 6 months and 2 days before Jake Ottinger's birthday. And it's also a span of 26 weeks and 3 days with the 56th prime and Society of Jesus equals 56. That's very interesting. A span of 6 months and 2 days. I don't know if that's a stretch or not, but we'll see. Of course, 263 and 185 are big 9/11 numbers. But that's another discussion for another day. Was there anything with Ottinger's name in 184? No, I don't think so. But also what was I gonna say? Oh, anyways, so that means the Stars are 0-2 against the Panthers this year. And if they went 4-1 against them, they'd finish the season 4-3 against the Panthers. And Florida is 43, as you see right there. And so is Panthers, is also 43. Another thing is Jamie Benn, who's the captain. I'm pretty sure he's still the captain, right? Yeah, he's still the captain. Is he 35? Yeah, he is 35 years old. We were just talking about 35. And this is, I believe it is a span of, yeah, span of 32 days before his birthday. How many playoff goals does he have? Yeah, look at that, 27 playoff goals. Dallas Stars, 27. 77 points, Stars equals 77. Interesting. Yeah, but yeah, as I said, he's still 35 years old. Uh, 35 being that key connection with the last time the Stars won the Stanley Cup and the Stars Panthers games in Finland earlier. So what does Finland equal in Jamasha? Finland's 129. It's interesting that the Stars' next playoff win is their 129th since moving to Dallas. Was it Tampere? Is that what the name of the city was? Tampere is another 39. So Unger could get his 39th playoff win. What is it? Tampere, Finland. What does that equal? Tampere, Finland, 66. Yeah, there's definitely something here. I think it was called Nokia Arena. 181. I think it's 100. It'll be 181 days after Ottinger's birthday. June 17th will be. So that's definitely something to look out for. The other potential. So why I've talked about why it could be Dallas versus Florida. Now, what about Dallas versus the Light? Whoops. Tampa Bay Lightning, including playoffs. So they are 32. They have 32 all-time wins against them. Yeah, that's right. I always forget. It's for the overall records, it's better to look at MQ because StatMuse. I never remember which one's ties and which one's overtime losses. So it's better just to look here on M cubed. So they're 32, 31, and 3. Does that match up? 32. Okay, so this is ties and this is overtime losses. Overtime and shootout losses. Okay. Yeah, so 32 and 31. Where was I? Tampa Bay, 32 and 31. If they won in 5 games, they would get their third. They would have 32 losses against Tampa all time. And they did go. What they went lost 4 games to 2 when they played them back in whatever year that was, 2020. Tampa Bay Lightning. Let's see if there's anything here. Yeah, Tampa Bay Lightning is 179. What else is there? Tampa Bay is 137. That's the 33rd prime. And next time that they beat the Lightning, it will be their 33rd win against them. I think the reason why I was thinking it could be the Lightning was that 32 stood out in the loss column. But it's Florida that has the 65. And I know they're not the Florida Lightning, but Tampa Bay is in Florida. And if the Stars were to win in 5 games, um, they would get to 6 and 5 against them all time in the finals. I think that they go 1-1 against them this year. Let's see. Stars versus Lightning. Yeah, they went. Lightning won 3-2. So the Stars stayed on 32 all-time wins against them. How about that? What is this guy saying? He says, we'll see. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna be right with a lot of those. That's just my opinion. Well, so they outscored them 7-6. No, sorry, 6-5. They did outscore them 6. That's interesting that they outscored the Stars outscored the Lightning 6-5 this year. And if the Lightning and Stars meet in the finals and the Stars win in 5 games, they will be 6-5 against them in the playoffs all time. That is very interesting. All right, I want to see if anyone has said anything in the chat. What's going on with the Devils? I don't know what's going on. I don't know much about the Devils this year, except the only thing I know about the Devils is that one time they played the Sharks and it was a major 201 dancing Israelis ritual. That was back in early January. And speaking of the Sharks, I guess I do kind of. I don't have to talk about them, but I do. And something that is interesting. So they're losing right now. Did I see that right? Yeah, they're losing right now. But if the Stars, or not the Stars, if the Sharks do win today, they'll finish the season with 54 points. And 54 was a huge number for the Sharks on opening night. Um, and yeah, in this new era where uh, it's like the old is stepping out, Logan Couture just announced his retirement. He announced his retirement on the 14th. I'm sorry, on the 15th of what's it called? On the 15th of April. Yeah, but the news leaked the day before on the 14th of April. And that was just like how earlier this year, well, technically it was last year, but earlier this season, Joe Thornton's number was retired 144 days after his 7/2 birthday. And Jesuit Order 144.72. I talked about that in the video as well. Yeah, Logan Couture on 15/4 when, again, City of San Jose, capital of Silicon Valley, 201. And we know that 201 is the 154th composite number. Announces his retirement on 15/4 when the new Sharks star is Macklin Celebrini, who was born on the day, leaving 201 days left in the year. And just to show you here, I found this out recently. The guy who came up with here, so you just see, yeah, City of San Jose, capital of Silicon Valley. It's right there. Capital. Here we go. So the guy who came up with the term capital of Silicon Valley, Tom McHenry, guess where he went to school? He is Jesuit educated, Bellarmine and Santa Clara. I know so many people that went that route. They went to Catholic school for like K through 8, and they went to Jesuit high school, and they went to a Jesuit college. Um, None of them that I know are like in the business, but it's a very popular thing for kind of San Jose residents who grow up in a Catholic background. Because Bellarmine, it's like kind of the cool kids school. I've mentioned this before. I wanted to go there, I didn't get in. Yeah, but even like my best friend growing up, he went this route, Bellarmine and then Santa Clara. And funny enough, my friend actually has the same birthday as Arturo Sosa. But yeah, 61st mayor of San Jose. Was it Jesus is 61? 61 is the 18th prime, IHS 18. And even if you look at the Santa Clara University logo, I mean, it even has IHS right in there. Once this loads, yeah, IHS right there in the logo. They're not hiding it. But yeah, City of San Jose, capital of Silicon Valley, and the guy who came up with that term is Jesuit educated. No surprises. Now it's funny also, he graduated he graduated from Santa Clara in 67. You know, hockey equals 67. And yeah, stored on the board of directors of the San Jose Sharks. And if you look at there's like some background. Where's the, no, that's probably not the best place to find it. Yeah, we go to SAP Center. Yeah, so here it was on June 7th, 6/7, when the vote passed to fund the arena that the Sharks currently play in, and then the arena opens. Well, it doesn't say, they took out the date, or maybe I found the date somewhere. Oh, there it is. Yeah, opened on September 7th. Um, that was 93 days. No, sorry, it was 71 days after the anniversary of the groundbreaking, and then on this day was the day that Macklin Celebrini was drafted, who was born on the day, leaving 201 days left in the year. And then, yeah, he wears number 71, like Catholic equals 71, and opens 71 days after that anniversary in 93. And, you know, we're talking about semi-primes. 93 is the 32nd semi-prime. Sun is 93 million miles away. 32 sun rays on the Jesuit logo. Yeah, and if I didn't mention it already, I know I mentioned it in other videos. Yeah, San Jose was founded on the day, leaving 32 days left in the year. Oh yeah, and also speaking of 71, the just go back here to Tom McHenry. Santa Clara University is on the uh, it shares a campus with the Santa Clara Mission, the Catholic mission, and you'll see this mission was founded on January 12th. January 12th is the day leaving 353 days left in the year. And 353 is the 71st prime number. So yeah, these aren't these. It makes me wonder if this script was written like at least 200 years in advance. I mean, that sounds ridiculous, but these numbers are lining up with history, and it's like, wow, what's going on here? Okay, and enough with the Sharks. I'm assuming they're still losing. Yeah, still losing. So we'll see if they come back and win and get their 54th point of the season. We'll see if that happens. Um, but how many wins do they have on the year? Then they would get their 62nd loss. Holy shit, that is bad. But okay, I went off topic a little bit, but I did want to get across those main points about Jay Gottinger and the potential riddle of a Stars Panthers or Stars Lightning, but more likely Stars Panthers Stanley Cup final. And mouse just ran out of battery. No, it didn't. I don't know what happened there. I mean, they love to. I guess they love to mock the fans. I mean, they have the Stars going into the playoffs losing 7 games in a row just so they could get stuck on 50 points. Yeah, and 106 points overall, 106 35th semi-prime. We were just talking about that. Yeah, but it'll be interesting. If they win 4 in the first round, they'll get to 54 to face the Jets, which equals 54. Uh, and then what's that? And then if they beat the Jets, they'll have 58. And who I don't know who they would face. They'd probably face the Knights. Or I guess maybe if the Wild or Kings or Oilers make a run, they'll face them. But yeah, Stars 58, just to show you here. Dallas Stars. Oh, I didn't even notice that. The last time they won the Stanley Cup is the 106th year of the Stanley Cup being contested. Well, that doesn't make any sense. No, I think it was the 106th time the Stanley Cup was awarded. I think that's the right answer to that. Because I don't think it was awarded. Well, maybe it was awarded. I didn't realize it went that far back. So there's just like a list of Stanley Cup champions. Okay, yeah, that's right. It's the 106th, I guess. I think they took a year off for World War II or something like that. Yes, they went 1914, 19. Oh, yeah. Oh, oh, wait. Oh, canceled because of the flu epidemic in 1919. Okay. So it went on for the World Wars, but no, that is interesting that was the 106th year that the Stanley Cup was awarded, and 106th, the 35th semi-prime, and they got their 35th playoff win since moving to Dallas, and now we're back in this year where they finished the season with 106 points, and they got outscored by the Panthers 10-6 over those 2 games in Finland. Um, and Jamie Benn's 35 years old. So these numbers, they line up, and as we know, history does repeat itself. Okay. Yeah, I don't think there's, well, I've gone on for almost an hour. Oh my God, YouTube is not receiving. I think I have too much going on my computer. But anyways, I do have to end it here. Um, I know if you're on Shane Lux's Patreon, he's doing a live stream on Friday, probably a lot better than mine. Um, you'll have more information. But yeah, I have to get back to homework now. I'll catch you guys later.